In the dead of night on August 8, 1963, a Royal Mail train speeding from Glasgow to London was forced to a halt on a lonely stretch of track. What followed was just a robbery, was a meticulously planned military-style operation that would become known as the Great Train Robbery and capture the world's imagination. Welcome to Rana, Asif, The Deep Dive. Tonight, we're unraveling one of the most audacious heists in British history, a crime of intricate planning, inside information, and a getaway that almost worked perfectly. This is the story of how a gang stole the equivalent of over £69 million today without firing a single shot. Mastermind Bruce Reynolds didn't act on a whim. The plan was hatched over months, based on crucial inside information from a mysterious senior security officer within the Royal Mail, a man whose identity remains unknown to this day. The gang knew a critical secret: the train's high-value packages carriage, which normally carried about £300,000, was holding a vastly larger haul between £2.50 and £3 million because it was just after a bank holiday weekend. They also knew that on that specific night, the more secure carriages with alarm systems were out of service, forcing the use of a vulnerable reserve coach. Just after 3 a.m., driver Jack Mills saw a red signal where there should have been green. It was a trap. The gang had tampered with the signal, covering the green light and powering the red with a battery. When Mills stopped, his assistant got down to call the signalman, only to find the phone lines cut. It was then the robbers struck, swarming the engine. Jack Mills was struck on the head with a metal bar and left semi-conscious. The gang then uncoupled the engine and the first two carriages, including the cash coach, from the rest of the train. Their plan hit a snag. The retired train driver they'd brought couldn't operate the new locomotive. Forced to wake the injured Mills, they made him drive the train about half a mile to Bradego Bridge, where their trucks were waiting. There, in a blistering 15 to 20 minutes, they formed a human chain and loaded 120 sacks of cash weighing over 2.5 tons into a truck. They left behind only 8 sacks. Before leaving, one robber told the tied-up postal workers not to move for half an hour, a comment that would later backfire spectacularly. The gang vanished into the night, arriving at their pre-arranged hideout, Leather Slade Farm, around 4:30 a.m. They divided the loot, roughly £150,000 per man, over £3 million today, and even celebrated by playing Monopoly with real money. But their crucial mistake was that comment. Police calculated that a half-hour drive put the gang within a 30-mile radius. This focused the massive manhunt. Combined with the fact they hadn't immediately scattered, it led police straight to the farm. The gang had tried to clean the farm, but in their rush to leave, they left behind a goldmine of evidence. The most famous clue, that Monopoly board covered in fingerprints. For men with existing criminal records, this was a death knell. Most of the gang was swiftly caught. The ringleaders received 30-year sentences, but the human cost was profound. Driver Jack Mills, though he lived until 1970, never recovered from the physical and psychological trauma of that night and never drove a train again. The bulk of the money was never recovered, and the identity of the insider. The Ulsterman remains one of the heist's greatest mysteries. Even 6 decades later, this story isn't over. In 2026, a locked safe in a cellar less than 10 miles from the robbery site was opened, revealing a fresh trove of original court documents, photos, and letters from the trial. New pieces of the puzzle are still surfacing, proving that the greatest crimes never truly fade away. What do you think was the gang's single biggest mistake? Was it the half-hour comment, staying together, or something else? Let me know in the comments below. If you were fascinated by this deep dive into historical crime, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more untold stories. Until next time, keep digging deeper.